Talk about having some fun at the casino, huh? What's up, YouTubers of the world? Making Geek Mixer here, ready to give you guys my review on episode 3 of season 6 of S.H.I.E.L.D. So, where we last left off on the ship side of things, or better yet, the space side of things, we learned about Fitz, and he was able to rescue those people. But as he was leaving, just then, Gemma and Daisy's group ended up showing up right as he left. And just like I pretty much suspected just like last week, or not last week, during the season premiere, is that Daisy, Piper, and Davis, they were not happy, and rightfully so. I mean, I get that Gemma really wants to find her husband, but she's doing it in a reckless way. But hey, they were there, so no need, so they could argue all they want, but either way, the fact is they were there and they were already in a situation, nothing they could do about it, so they had to just go with the flow. And that was in the fact that some guy came in here saying that they've been registered on their system, they can't get out, so they gotta go through with the system, and they didn't pass inspection, all because they said they were looking for Fitz, who has apparently become a wanted man by somebody, and it was a surprise to find out who that somebody was. Nobody we know about, but it's just more like somebody we know through someone else, that being Enoch. Now, if you guys know Enoch, I keep forgetting what he says he is, but basically like some sort of robot. Yeah, I'm not going to waste my time or my brain trying to remember what that name was. If anyone does remember that, please let me know in the comment section down below so I can try to burn it in my head so that way I don't forget it next time. But either way, with Enoch and Fitz, they were unfortunately kicked off the ship by two guys who were able to get the ship and take the ship from them, but in the process they gave them off to a casino where they would have to gamble their way to try to win themselves a ship so they could get out of there and back to cryo chamber and everything, because they still believe that what's supposed to happen to stop a future event from happening is still in effect. That's because they haven't seen Daisy, Gemma, or anyone yet. Speaking of which, it's great in this episode we finally get some Daisy and Gemma time, because Simmons and Daisy, they really haven't had that much time to bond together in so long. I mean, there was that time during the framework, but pretty much after that, pretty much in season 5, did they barely get time to spend some time together, and this episode gave us that, although in a very funny way, to be exact. So like, here's the thing, before Fitz and Enoch were sent to that casino, Fitz was going to eat some puffs, but Enoch preferred him not to, saying that Terrans, that being the name in space for people in the MCU universe, if you're from Earth, you're a Terran. Basically, they couldn't eat those, and at first we didn't know why, but Davis, along with Gemma and Daisy, decided that they'll go ahead and eat one, and after eating just a bite of them, they ended up acting all weird and stuff like they were drunk. When basically that was what it was. Basically, those puffs are like alcoholic to Terrans, basically human beings from Earth, and basically with Daisy and Gemma, all those two were doing was just acting all funny and stuff, barely able to remember what they were doing at first. Heck, the only way Gemma was able to remember was by seeing a tiny little teddy bear illusion of Fitz in a teddy bear suit. Oh, that's classic. And they even made an Easter egg reference over to Harry Potter with the Expectum Patrona. I think that's what it was said. And they went back into remembering when they first met and stuff like that. It was good to see that again. Even if it was in a drunkish way, it was still great to see those two bonding and everything again, because it has been so long since we've seen that. And then last season, they really weren't on eye-to-eye terms and everything. And they kind of weren't eye-to-eye on terms at the beginning of this episode, but like I said, they were already in a situation, so they couldn't do nothing but just brush it off. And and asks for that guy, and asks for like that the guy that's haunting Fitz. Well, it turns out he's just like Enoch. He's part of Enoch's race, and then for some reason, like he's and what he is compared to Enoch. Now, Enoch, he's an observer. He like collects data and stuff. While this guy, he's a hunter, and they're on the hunt for Fitz and Enoch. Why are they on the hunt for Fitz and Enoch? Well, apparently it has something to do with things being out of place or something like that. And that's making me think, was this extinction level event supposed to happen, and now that it has been corrected, has it messed with the time flow, and now these guys are after Fitz and everyone else to make them pay for changing that? I don't know. That's just my personal guess. And speaking of the casino with Fitz and Enoch really shows a level of being able to gamble well, but at the same time, he shows very naivete. And that is in the fact now he considers Fitz his best friend ever since this whole 1-year adventure they've been having together. But unfortunately, it also makes him a little naive in the terms of human emotion. But that's because he's really an observer and stuff, and since he's a robot and everything, he's still trying to learn. And luckily for him, his robot thing is able to cover him up, because in the casino, robots aren't allowed in that casino, because if they are, then you're executed. Well, it all goes well for Enoch at first until he gets suckered in by a bluff from another guy after Enoch was winning so many chips that no doubt would have gotten them a ship. But this other guy was just like, nope, I'll just swindle this guy, and he did just that. They lost everything. That's when they had to go into another side where Fitz would have to play another game where if he lost, he would be sold to slavery or die. And we were already seeing what it was like. Luckily, he had Enoch there to help him out, thanks to a sound he was able to emit that not only Fitz heard, but Daisy and Simmons heard as well. And basically, though, he was doing great at first until Enoch got shut down by the hunter who is hunting him. I still don't know who that hunter is. All we know is that this guy means trouble to Fitz and all of them, because he was able to deactivate Enoch for that moment, and that exposed Fitz to seeing that he had a robot and he was cheating and stuff. And no doubt he would have been killed if not for those guys showing up at the casino and starting shooting people and hunting and trying to hunt for Fitz. But luckily, this also brought us back to something we hadn't seen in a while, in nearly a year, and that's Daisy kicking ass. And man, it was funny how she was doing it too. But luckily she had Simmons there, because the fact is those puffs still were making them feel drunk and everything, and when she first used her quake powers, she missed badly, but luckily it reflected off of a vial or something and hit one of them. And at first, Gemma was trying to help her by holding her arm and aiming at the purple while she would just activate her powers. It was actually kind of funny in that end, but eventually Daisy was able to get herself together a bit to where she was able to start really showing why she's such a badass. And this is always what I loved about Daisy, seeing her badass side and just kicking some ass. Oh, I missed those days and I loved it. And as for Fitz, well, he and Enoch were able to escape from the place where Fitz was trying to win so he wouldn't be sold off to slavery, and they did escape, and that's when Gemma and him met. But unfortunately, the reunion was cut short, and the fact that those hunters found Fitz and they teleported out of there with him. And now what does that mean going forward? Well, we don't know, because we still don't know why they're hunting Fitz. I'm still thinking it has something to do with the fact that since they have been able to fix things and the time displacement, because they did mention how Fitz died in last season, and that this Fitz, the one that was supposed to be in cryo chamber, is still alive. So they're thinking something's wrong with the timeline and everything. So hopefully maybe they might clear that up. I'm not saying that's why they're after it. That's just my hypothesis for what we got. And that's what I'm thinking right now. And hopefully, if I am right, they'll be able to try to clear things up. But with the way these guys are, I don't know if that's possible. But the one other thing we also got here was that after after all that, at the end of the episode, did we get Sarge and one of his men with him activating that gun they had needed to regenerate with crystals, and then they shot it out there for some reason. After that, I don't know. Right now, we're still at a loss with what Sarge and the others are doing. I wonder if maybe if it's connected with these people who have taken Fitz or something or other. All I know is that we're still really in the loop here on what's going on and everything. And this one is also another kind of a slow burn of things. It's not saying it's a bad episode. It was a good episode for what we got in a sort of sense of fillerish sort of thing. Sort of like fillerish, but not really, because the progress we got with it was Fitz and Simmons were reunited, and we now know Fitz is being hunted. It's just really, though, leaving us with more questions than answers, which is fine. I mean, we're still at the beginning of the season, so of course it's got to be like that, and I'm all good with that. Let's just hope we find out what's going on here on the space side of things as we're going into next week, learning about the Earth side of things. Eventually, these things are all going to come together again, and then we're going to have one big epic battle going on that the SHIELD agents are just going to have to fight their way through. And all I say is good luck to them. But that'll be all for today, guys. And if you're enjoying my videos, click that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon to be notified when I make more videos. And until then, Mega Geek Mixer signing out. Bye!